Stuff off, but we are going to record this. We'll put this on our SEC Red Cross YouTube page by the end of the week in case any of you miss it or get disconnected or have to go before it's over. But the topic today is community connections. We're going to be talking about kind of small talk and sometimes serious talk and conversational techniques with donors at blood drives. We'll be talking about the reason why donors donate and some of those. And we'll have some participation at the end. Please do keep yourself on mute unless you're speaking or answering something specific. Feel free to be on camera or off camera. We're going to try and stay on camera as long as our bandwidth can sustain it. Anything else?
Cindy got the link, the PowerPoint to work.
Cindy
Yay.
got the link. Welcome, Cindy. Welcome, Cindy. And we have 49 joined and counting. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Good to go?
Yeah.
Okay, good to go. Again, if it's your first time, the Red Cross Caring Communication and all volunteers and employees across the U.S. get some version of this. They have different versions for, collection staff and for disaster relief volunteers, so everyone gets some version of this. This one today is specifically not exclusively but specifically for BDA volunteers, and I think most of the people on the call are blood donor ambassadors for us here on the East Coast. But we like to make caring visible by incorporating skills, initiatives, and behaviors, serving internal and external customers at all levels and every interaction, creating a caring culture every day, which forms the word visibility, kind of, and that is Red Cross Caring Communications and kind of the point of it. Before we deep dive into it, we're going to talk a little bit about the month of May. Turning it over to Kristen.
So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's so important to acknowledge that mental health is also physical health, and that there are people who struggle even though we cannot see their struggle. So it's super important to make ourselves aware of mental health in the field when we're in general, but also when we're at drives as well. So we have a question. How do you work on being mentally well and balanced? So I garden. That's something that has, and if you've been on previous Caring Communications, you know that I garden. I bring it up a bit. But that's something that I do. This could be listening to your favorite music or taking a walk or going on trips, or maybe it's just a staycation, staying home and doing nothing and binge watching. So if you want to put in the chat, how do you stay mentally well and balanced? Please do.
Our good friend Melissa from Tennessee just said kitty cuddles. Melissa, don't let me forget, I have an absolutely beautiful rescue kitten story. If you're a kitty person, I'm not going to share it today because it's too long, but I have a great recent saved a kitten story here from North Carolina. Ron does jigsaw puzzles. Ron, I have a friend named JoJo, a close friend of mine named JoJo that lives here in North Carolina. I've known her for 20 plus years. She also does jigsaw puzzles. That is her decompression, unwinding, clear her mind thing. That's great.
We have a couple of exercise, plenty of sleep. Yes.
You can't get that back.
Kayaking, spending time outdoors, hiking. Hey, Rubette, we recently learned that about you, that you like to hike. So great.
That's right. That was a quiz question because somebody said it. They all looked at me. Who likes to hike? I was like, or who loves to hike? I said, I don't think I love it, but
I don't do it. Let's see.
Oh,
A
love
walk
it.
each morning.
Joanna said volunteering. What a great answer. Thank you. That was the right answer. Sorry.
Spending time with grandchildren. Anything else? This has been lovely.
Church work. What a lot of great answers.
Yeah.
I I'm old, older than I look. I do pinball. For those of you that are my age and older, you may have played pinball. I find pinball because you can't take your eyes off of it, and it requires like laser focus, even though it can be stressful second to second. Traditional pinball I find to be very um, mentally cleansing, if you will. And I discovered that years ago when I was stressed out. Somebody put that in front of me. Pinball. It really just clears your mind. So fantastic. Likes walks and sleep.
Yeah,
Any other really great ones we
Reading.
missed?
reading.
Reading. Diane Deff. Diane lives near us. Diane, tell us a book that you've read recently that you would recommend. Not to put you on the spot.
You could throw it in the chat if you'd like.
Or you can throw it in the chat. Give us a book recommendation in the chat if you can. Ooh. Hey, thank you all for all that participation. That was great. Sometimes nobody says anything.
I know. So today we have a really great group. Not that all the groups. have
These are all
been, but
wonderful.
These are chatty Cathy's.
These are all wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thank you so much. Feel free to keep putting those in the chat. We're going to
Yeah.
move on. Talking about motivations to donate. This is one of my favorite aspects of the work that we do is finding out from people, not pressing people on it, but finding out from people. A lot of donors at blood drives will voluntarily share this. The reason why they're there today and the reason why they're donating, the reason why they're donating at that particular drive, or the frequency, or why it's important to them. There's a sense of humanitarianism, altruism, a desire to help others in need and to make a difference. There are frequently family and friend connections. Family members receive blood transfusions in the past. I cannot tell you how many times I have, onboarded, interviewed a new volunteer who shared that with me and gave that is the reason. The reason they wanted to volunteer is because they had a family member who was direct recipient of blood in the past, and they wanted to get involved in this. Also, a feeling of social responsibility. There's some sense of responsibility to contribute to the community. I have talked to people. I could think of people, actually, someone who donates here in Greensboro. That's the Greensboro Donor Center right behind us across the hall. But someone who specifically told me that they felt a real sense of like it's something that they had to do, that they felt obligated to do, as a sense to their community. There's also personal fulfillment to make a difference. A lot of folks really like chasing. I'm one of them. Like chasing the gallons. So I'm at 22 gallons counting, and I get excited. It's like, oh, I got to another gallon. That's 8 pints. 8 pints of blood is a gallon. You can give 3 units of blood for platelets and stuff. But yeah, some people really like that personal feeling of fulfillment. Incentive and rewards. This one doesn't work for everyone, and everyone's a little different. So the incentive right now, nationally, I think we're coming to the end of it, is the solar lantern. We should have brought one.
We should have.
April, if you're on the call, thank you for sending the solar lanterns. We got them today. I should have brought one out here. But it's a little collapsible plastic and metal, like a camping lantern. And it's got a charge cable. It's a really nice item. There's it can turn into a flashlight at the bottom. It's LED. It's really nice. And I did a blood drive at a manufacturing plant last week, where we were handing those out. And everybody that came through, all the men and all the women that came through, were just super, super excited, like thrilled about this, thought it was the best thing ever. But then, but it's not for everybody. Some people would prefer a t-shirt. Some people would prefer a gift card. Some people would prefer nothing at all. And I've had that too, where people almost felt, what's the word? Almost a little offended that we were trying to give them an incentive, because I've had people say to me, not scold me, but I've had donors say to me, well, that's not why I do it. And that's important to be mindful of it. That's more of a social obligation person, maybe, than a incentives and rewards, which is why it's good to know all these. And then again, health benefits, free health screening, potential heart benefit. We've had a lot of donors that came through this year specifically due to the A1C testing, which we talked about on the last call. So the Red Cross, in case you're unfamiliar, started free A1C testing during certain months, which is kind of it's not the same thing as a diabetes screening, but it can be an early indicator of of the chances of an individual to get, type 1 or type 2 diabetes. We started that as a free thing this year. Was that February, March?
And the next one is August.
And the next one's August. So that was, a health benefit. And there really is kind of a mini physical. I have family members who, suffer from high blood pressure and have told me like, oh yeah, Red Cross, that's great because I can get the free, like the free professional blood pressure, check while I'm there. So yeah, so lots of different reasons. There are six. There are probably many others, but six kind of primary reasons that people give to donate, why they show up. It's good to know those things in an effort to engage and listen with with donors, volunteers too, but with donors, that come into blood drives and that do want to discuss those reasons with you, which I think is beautiful. And with that, turn it back over to Krista.
So we're going to talk about community building. By building strong relationships, we can create a community of advocates who will spread the word about the Red Cross work we do and support our mission. Community building builds loyalty and trust. Communication is key to customer loyalty. So build loyalty and trust. When donors feel valued and connected to the Red Cross, they are more likely to return for future donations, reducing the need to constantly recruit new donors. Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure.
If anyone on the call does like an adopt-a-shift, maybe at a particular location, like at a fixed site or at a church, we have some volunteers in our area that always do this location, always do that location. If any of those folks are on the call, you probably know some of these donors who really feel valued and trusted and really like to help support that particular blood drive. Because it's personalized, they'll say, oh, this is my church, or this is my school, or this is my business.
And then when you're at fixed sites, did you say this already, that that's the same folks that come through the front door?
Exactly.
And so you get to know their names, why they donate, their cousins' names, and so that's just a really great benefit to working at a fixed site or a blood drive that repeats itself.
Yeah. And then as they walk out, you can always say, see you next time.
Yeah.
See you next time, because again, that's part of that whole community. Like this person goes to this drive and they're coming back.
So the next one is increases donation frequency. Building strong relationships can encourage donors to donate more often as they feel a personal commitment to helping others through their contribution. This is the same thing, we were just talking about building strong relationships with our donors. They're more likely to come back if you know their name, for instance, or, you recognize them from the previous donation. So just building that relationship and making sure it's personalized.
Mm-hmm. And again, this is probably rehashed, but just in case you're new to the team and don't know, blood donors, traditionally, healthy blood donors can donate once every 56 days. So 1 pint or a unit of blood once every 56 days. We have blood drives in this area that run like clockwork every 56 days in order to help with this, this aspect, that increased donation frequency. So every 56 days, this particular location does a blood drive. Platelet donors can donate once every 7 days, up to 24 total times a year. So they will cut you off eventually, but up to once every 7 days. Plasma, I think, is 27. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's once every 27 days. And then Power Red, or the double unit, once every 128 days, 56 times.
Very impressed.
Is that right? I think it's 128. Gosh, I think it's once every 128 days. And you have blood drives in certain areas that will run on exactly those frequencies. 112, thank you. I don't know where that came from. You're right, 56 and 56 would be 112. Thank you, Ron. That's Ron Palland, everybody who's a lot of you know him. He does these onboarding calls when new volunteers start in our area. And he's a wealth of information. Thank you. I don't know where I came with the other, but yeah, 56, 56, 112. Thank you, sir. Oh gosh.
It's the third one.
There it is. There we go.
And then
Sorry.
finally, community building ensures a positive donor experience. Another way to ensure a positive experience is by anticipating needs before they even get expressed. Understanding your preferences, behaviors, and pain points can help us proactively address concerns and provide solutions. Ensures positive donor experience by providing personalized communication and addressing individual needs. Red Cross can create a positive donation experience, which motivates donors to return. Do you have any? I feel like these are very self-explanatory,
Yeah,
and I
they absolutely
don't
are.
want to waste your time.
They absolutely are. Well, I'll give you a story on this. So individual needs. So my father, some of you have met my father. He's a regular blood donor in this area, and kind of put me on this path many, many years ago, at a Red Cross thing. But my father, who's in his 70s, he donates regularly. I ran into him at a drive last week, which had nothing to do with me being there. But my father donates blood regularly. He is very chatty. Talk about that later too. And likes to he will not do rapid pass. He's living in 1983 and that's great, but he does everything, paper old school, loves to talk to people, loves to express things out. Staff mostly actually really like him. My father has a wave of dizziness that hits him every time he donates, specifically when his feet hit the floor. He's never passed out. He's never had any post-donation issues. But that's a specific need for him. And I tell people, I'm like, when he gets out of the chair after donating a pint of blood and his feet hit the floor, it's going to look like he's about to fall over. He doesn't, but he'll kind of bend over, grab his knees. Oh, he gets really, really dizzy. That's his thing. Thank goodness nothing has ever happened, but that's kind of an example. When I see him there, I'm like, hey, watch him because, he has a specific need. He's a recurring donor. We know him. He's about to get really dizzy and lightheaded for about 6 to 7 seconds right when he stands up. And then he's fine, and then he's drinking apple juice and eating Oreos and telling people his whole life story. But yeah, and again, you may all know people if you do regular drive runs, may know donors that have specific personalized needs that we can anticipate before they go.
So we're going to just highlight again our care, knowledge, care statements. For care, it's be sincere and respectful when you meet people and meet them where they are. Knowledge, explain why you do benefits them. And then care, communicate with positivity and with acknowledgement. So this could be a question, how's your day? How are things going? Personalize it, or they could say, have a question. Knowledge is have a question to you, like how many days can you go without, in between donating? And then you say, thank you so much for your question. Here's the answer. And then thank you again. So just care, knowledge, care.
I'm going to call, if it's okay, Cindy put a wonderful comment in the chat, example, if we can share.
Sure.
Cindy said likes to sit at the table, talk about how much they are helping folks, again, personalize that, like why you make a real difference. She's in healthcare, so use an example of an 82-year-old male with a 82-year-old male with a triple aneurysm. It took 28 donors.
Wow.
20, not donations, 28 donors to save his life. He needed red cells, platelets, and plasma. Folks love hearing this and encourage their friends, et cetera, to also donate. What a wonderful story. That's something we don't think about a lot because I'm frequently thinking that, this pint of blood is going to a person and it's going to save their life. But oh my goodness, you never know. Yeah, 28 donors with multiple donation types, product types to save that person's life. What a wonderful story. Thank you, Cindy. And if anyone else has others, feel free to toss them in the chat. Again, we are recording this. Okay, so I'm going to talk about small talk. How did that happen? So small talk. So not everyone loves small talk. Some people love it. Some people, do it politely. Some people do it a little bit too much. Again, like me and my dad. We had a volunteer on a previous call, and I take no offense to this, but I'm going to call it out, who thought that we were having a little bit too much small talk up here at the beginning of our presentation. Called us out on it in a professional, nice way. Could we please get on with the material? And that kind of hit me because I was like, wow, you're right. Not everyone loves small talk. But here are some do's and don'ts for small talk with donors at blood drives. Connecting with each other and achieving positive outcomes starts with valuing each conversation, or sometimes valuing silence. Seeking the value in what can be learned rather than viewing communication as simply a requirement to gather necessary information. So there is a little song and dance, obviously, that is expected and required at all these, thanks for coming in. Do you have an appointment today? Did you complete Rapid Pass? Can I get you a bottle of water? There is kind of an expected, required, minimum for this, certainly. But beyond that, you never want to go too far beyond that, getting people's business. But beyond that, there's lots of things you can do to help further establish connection, help that first person feel included, build a positive rapport, and establish a great first impression, thereby representing not just yourself and our department, but by representing the Red Cross. You may have a first-time person. Uh, this is their first time, coming in and seeing us. Tips for effective small talk. Try to put the other person at ease. Make sure you listen intently. I do I do more talking than listening. It's something I'm working on. Two ears, one mouth, right? I should be listening twice as much as I'm speaking. I'm not there, but I'm working on it. Stick to neutral topics. Gosh, we talk about this a lot. It used to be so easy to talk about, whatever. But in 2025, it is highly recommended that you steer away from non-neutral topics, like for example, politics. I love talking politics, but maybe not at blood drives with donors while they're waiting. Ask meaningful questions, show genuine interest. Something else I struggle with is being right there with the person. Krista was so sweet. We set this up like over an hour ago and are ready to kind of rehearse it. And I was doing 15 other things and kind of half listening to her and talking to my son on the phone and talking to my wife on the phone and talking to two new volunteers on the phone. And I'm realizing it now. Gosh, I should have been more genuinely here with Kristen because she was spending her extra time here getting ready for this. Thank you for being here early and making sure that this happened. And again, to stay present, to be right there with that person to the extent that you can. Certainly, we can't have, you probably know some donors that would like to have all of your attention for 30 minutes while they're in recovery. We have other donors. We have lots of people we have to keep an eye on, checking in and checking out and coming through. But do try and be present with people to the extent that it's appropriate. Start with a warm and friendly greeting. Use their name if you can. I like to ask people, what their preferred name is. So, because again, I'm a James that goes by Jamie, but never Jim. And some Davids like to be Dave or Davy. My wife is Elisa, but never an Elizabeth. So there's certain ways to, as you're doing the name tags, to sort of bring those things up. Oh, do you go by this? Well, what would you like the staff to call you today while you're coming in? But yeah, there's a lot of good ways to do that, to ask those open-ended questions. How's it going today? How's the weather? Is it raining out there? People, I have a lot of friends that always ask me, what you got going on this weekend? That's what they say.
Yeah, I was just,
What you got going on tomorrow?
did you ask me?
I might have, yeah. I have friends that always say that, so I've started doing that. Hey, let's try. Hey, Krista, what you got going on this weekend?
I'm going to the Grasshoppers baseball game.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Hope it
Fantastic.
doesn't rain.
Yeah. Ask me.
Hey, what are you doing this weekend?
I'm going to see Metallica in Charlotte, and the Red Cross is going to be there. It's going to be so much fun. I'm hoping to get we're doing a blood drive in Charlotte. If you live near Charlotte, for the Metallica concert, Enter Sandman. See, there you go. There's like real world Red Crossy stuff that we worked it in. Um, Conversation starters to get the most out of your interactions. Please keep it simple. Interactions do not have to be long. Trainings don't have to be long. Hey, we're going to finish this in under an hour, I promise. It just needs to be meaningful. Sample donor questions as you're talking to people. How's your day going so far? How's your morning been? Are you a regular donor? Is this your first time? Do you normally come here? Do you have any questions about the process? Have you ever donated Power Red platelets plasma before? Again, if you're sitting there waiting, sometimes there is like a waiting period. You can ask people, if they show an interest, or if you're at a location that does other things other than whole blood, you can start that conversation up. Um, I'm an A positive. My blood platelets are kind of ideal, so I would prefer to only give blood because it's quick. But platelets, which is again a little more like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour commitment. That's something I got introduced to several years ago while waiting to donate blood. I was actually in the Winston-Salem office, and I got talked into platelets. So I became a regular platelet donor because of that interaction with a volunteer there. Anything fun planned for after you donate, or what you got going on tonight? What you got going on later? Again, some people love to talk about that sort of thing. That can really put them at ease. And how does it feel to know that you saved up to 3 lives today? 3 adult lives. I think it's up to 4 baby lives. Those little baby bags. I think it's up to 4 baby bags out of the planet blood, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, those are some useful conversational starters. You may know other ones. Maybe not who'd you vote for yesterday, but but some of these neutral things. Try and pay attention. Try and be focused. Try and be aware of body language and eye contact and posture, and everything else. Not just from you, but from them. Some people don't want to chit chat. I have occasionally pushed on that too hard, and realized, again, it's important to greet everyone and be courteous, but some people just don't want to talk.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Do the basic, ask them how their day was, thank them. Do you have any questions? And then just live with the silence if that's.
And then live with the silence.
Yeah.
Can I get you anything else today?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in. Some people just kind of, nod, and you can tell they don't really they don't want to tell you about the reasons they donate.
And this is a great shout out to Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
This is a great thing. We don't know what happened 10 minutes before they got to the drive, or for what this day means to them. So, just being cognizant of that and making sure that you aren't going into using small talk, but recognizing body language, what we talked about previously.
Yeah.
Recognizing that, and maybe if they have their arms crossed or they're not making eye contact, this is an indication, okay, small talk right now isn't the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a hand up. Feli, hope I'm saying it right.
Yes.
Did you have a comment? Hi.
Yes, I would just like to add to your list that when the donor is a regular donor, we can always ask them what makes them keep coming back. What they will be glad and proud to tell you why they keep coming back, and they will be glad to tell you how many gallons they have donated, and let them brag. And then also remind them that Red Cross is sending communication to donors to tell them where their blood goes. So that will make them realize, they are in communication with Red Cross, and Red Cross will let them know where they send their blood. And if they don't get that information, we should help them to get that. So I think that will be a good conversation with the donor.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And again, I love bragging about how many gallons on that. I've already done it at least once in this meeting. And you're right. And there are a lot of people that like to see that number, like to talk about that number. And then again, I think you're talking about I usually get emails like a week or two after, and it'll say your blood went to this location, usually within the states, usually fairly local, but this is where it went to help support, which does it makes it so real.
Yeah, tangible.
So yeah, no, thank you. That's 100% correct. Great thing to get people to talk about and to share. Thank you for that. Okay, so our last little bit here. This is our last presentation slide, and then we're gonna open it back up to share again here at the end, and we'll all be out of here in a few minutes. Thank you again. But we're going to talk about behavioral styles. I'm going to take the first two for obvious reasons. Talker and doer, and then Chris has been nice enough to talk about the second two, at least one of which I know she is. She's absolutely a supporter. But these are some behavioral styles, and again, this is you probably don't know anyone that is all one of these. You know, everyone exists on a sliding scale and moves around on these. Again, I'm aware I tend to be the talker and the doer more so than the controller and the supporter. But everyone has their area, their comfort level with behavior and communication styles. So we're going to talk about those. And this is not just information for you to be aware of for yourself, but also when you're talking to other people. Because again, some donors, some staff, some of the partners that we work with are going to have, they're going to have different styles that we want to be mindful of. So here are some things that go along with the talker. Fast-paced, outgoing, and enthusiastic.
You?
Aren't interested in details. I gotta tell you, it's again something I'm working on. I really don't dwell as much on details as maybe I should. Gosh, I bet April's still on this call. April, something I'm working on, those details. Value personal relationships. I absolutely do prefer a collaborative approach to making decisions and solving problems. Love talking those things out. Love that. I'm talker. Sometimes I'm too much of a talker, but can also be a doer. Doers are forceful and results oriented, goal oriented. Again, those gallons, that we talked about, goal oriented. Need information that supports results. I love seeing numbers after the fact. I don't like seeing numbers now, but I love seeing numbers after the fact. Like, oh wow, look at these great numbers. For those of you that receive our BDA newsletter, we've been putting in more numbers for like, this is how many blood drives we had in North Carolina this, last month. This is how many volunteers, took a shift in North Carolina or in Tennessee, last month. We tend to make quick decisions when presented with facts. That's also me. Sometimes too quick, what they call a knee-jerk reaction. Sometimes too quick a decision. I should have waited. And a lower need for establishing relationships. I love to establish relationships. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm halfway through those two things. But those are some talker and some doer. And I think I exist on the talker side of doer, but I'm kind of in the middle of each. Krista, tell us about the other two.
So there's controller and supporter. A controller is detailed oriented, deliberate, and organized. They rely on facts, evidence, and data. They weigh all alternatives before making decisions, and they're a bit lower energy level and pacing. I love to pace.
It's my wife, 100%, all for it. That's how it is.
I don't even know I'm doing it.
If she was here right now, I'd tell her.
No.
If she was sitting in the room, I'd say, yeah, that's you.
So then, and don't be, some people read controller or hear controller and there's a negative tone to that, but it's not.
Right.
This is read the facts. It's detail oriented, deliberate, organized, evidence-based, database. You just know what you like.
Right.
You know what you need.
And none of these are good or bad
No.
necessarily. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just these are all neutral behavioral styles when communicating.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so now my favorite, because I am a supporter, warm and cooperative and attentive, establish trusting relationships, need time to process information before making a decision, and friendly and easy to approach. Now, I hope I'm a supporter. That's what I
Yes.
think I am.
That's you. That's absolutely you.
Yeah, usually instead of taking charge, I like to kind of sit back a little bit and watch the group, watch what's happening, and then make a decision as to how I'm going to move forward. But then also making sure that I'm supporting the team and supporting volunteers and what their needs are, and meeting them where they're at. And so that's kind of how I go about small talk with my behavioral styles when working with others.
I think we've been blessed with a large number of supporters on this team. Several of you on the call. I'm not going to name names, but I think in the time I've been with the Red Cross, a large number of supporters at every level. Cooperative, attentive, trusting people who are friendly and easy to approach. You know who you are. Thanks for being here. All right. Time to share. Okay, so take a minute, and again, we're not going to call anybody out. You're welcome to put your name up. I mean, you're welcome to put your hand up if you'd like to come on mute and share with us. You're welcome to put something in the chat if you prefer that way. But we would like to know, if you want to introduce yourself and talk about which one or ones of these you most relate to. Again, I'm the talker and the doer that's trying to be more of the supporter. That's me. I need to be more that way.
I would love to be a talker.
Yeah.
Like not like 100% a talker, but I would take like 30% talker.
There's got to be a happy medium. But would love to hear from y'all if anybody wants to share about these behavioral styles. Does one of them speak to you? Is one of them a goal of yours? Gosh, that little middle puzzle piece there would be so nice to have, wouldn't it? But yeah, and again, we're not going to call anybody out. And if nobody wants to share, you're welcome just to kind of think about it. It's a great thing to think about, as Michael Jackson said, looking at the man in the mirror, asking him to change his ways. But yeah, it's a great thing to think about. But if anybody would love to share a little bit about themselves, we would love to hear.
And if not, that's totally okay.
And if not, that's
we will
fine.
revel in the silence.
Right, but I have to stop being the talker long enough to let it happen. So, yes. All right.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
I could say something.
Yes.
Okay, Lanny from Alabama. And
Hi,
I wish I had heard this before. I have a friend in Miami whose son is a chiropractor in Rome, Italy, and he was visiting, and it was the first time I met him, and he asked me a simple question, and I gave him sort of a detailed answer, and I got a lecture from him of how to answer people. And I should have noticed that he walked quickly, he talked quickly. And if I had heard this, hopefully I would have been better, but I really upset him by my answer because I gave him too many details.
Yeah, he wanted, he's a doer.
He's
right?
a doer.
Straight to the point.
He's a doer.
Oh, this is fantastic.
That's a good story. And again, I don't think you did anything wrong. We just, but that's a great example of kind of meeting somebody where they are. Yeah.
This isn't just for blood donation. Your life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. This is stuff you could use at home, in school, and on the bus. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
On the subway. Thank you. We had a hand up. Lakeisha White, are you still there?
Yes. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so actually, counter to your comment, fortunately with my organization, I work in the nuclear power industry, and we host blood drives quarterly. And I also volunteer outside of my organization, but I find myself not only in my role as a leader in my organization, but also even through the volunteering, dabbling in all of them at times. It just kind of depends. But I think I gravitate more towards the supporter with a probably some elements of the others day to day, just
Yeah.
depending on who I'm interacting with. But I absolutely love it, and I love the fact that I can do it in both the professional setting as well as personal setting. But it definitely helps with just making people, like what you've been talking about, they feel welcome and appreciated and consider the different options, the way that they can donate.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, thank both you personally and your organization and your business for supporting us. So fantastic.
Thank you.
We have a couple of controller and doers in
Yeah,
the chat
yeah.
with some talker and supportive tendencies.
Yeah,
We love
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's probably appropriate to be familiar with all four and to dabble inside of all four, depending on the situation.
Another supporter.
Another
Supporters
supporter.
unite.
I know. I gotta be, yeah, be more genuinely supportive.
Hey, teammates.
Hey, is that Andrea?
It is. I am
Hi,
more of a-
Andrea. It's our good
How
friend
are
Andrea
you?
Vant from Eastern Carolina. We're great. Thanks for joining us.
I am more of a supporter,
100%
Yes.
you are.
and
And
I
I'm
can't-
grateful for it. So thank you.
and a detail oriented, trying to be more well organized,
Mm,
Yeah, aren't we all?
yeah.
trying to be that.
Yeah, Andrea, if for those of you who've been blessed to work with Andrea Vent in North Carolina, you've also done some Virginia and stuff too, right? Yeah. So North Carolina, Virginia, down there by the coast. No, she's a 100% supporter. She has put my mind at ease about so many stressful things over the last several years. So
And always such a
thank you.
light. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you
You're
for being here.
welcome.
So
You're welcome.
fantastic. Judith, did you want to share?
Well, this relating to what Lakeisha was saying, as well as Andrea, they several years, like 22 years, this was part of my curriculum as a corporate trainer.
Ah,
Oh, wow.
And that the setting was, it's not all about business, it's about your life and making relationships. And I think it's very strong. And what I learned is that the more you notice things in other people and you respond to them appropriately, the more versatile you become. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
all four areas come out when you need them, not to make
Right.
you phony, but to make you real.
right.
Yeah.
You
Real
can
strength.
naturally adapt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
that's life.
That is life. So you've used this in life and also professionally. It sounds like.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
When I
That's
became president of the HOA, this is how we got started.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing. Any others? And again, feel free to put it in the chat. You don't need to. Nobody needs to stand as a doer. Hey, doers are important. Thanks. But yeah, again, great things to think about, not just at blood drives, but in life and in all interactions. Where you lie on these, where others lie on these. If you're not working a blood drive later this week, you might be at a family dinner or a family function and be, and try and be aware and cognizant of these and how your friends and family, might be put at ease with these things. And with that in mind, at 12:18 p.m.,
nice.
I think that's all we have. I think that's our material. We're not going to jump off. We'll be happy to stay on for several minutes. If anyone has any questions or any other comments about this or any other BDA related things, I am going to stop the recording here in just a second. But if you don't have any questions, thank you for joining us. We had a great turnout. I think close to 60 people.
Yeah.
Were on there at one point. So thanks for being here. Be sure to record 1 full hour of training time on your Volunteer Connection account. If you don't currently use a Volunteer Connection account to insert hours, contact one of us, your volunteer engagement rep. We'd be happy to put that hour in for you. We will be off for the summer, but we will be back in August or September, I think, for another round of this. We haven't seen the new curriculum for next fiscal year, but we will be back here soon. And yeah, but you are free to go or free to stay on if anyone has any questions. We'll be here for several more minutes. Thank you all so much for everything you do for the American Red Cross.
This is
Thank
John.
you.
This is John Rat. I volunteer at the Duluth facility and donate platelets. James, I'm up to 60 gallons. So,
Heck yeah. Well done.
well,
60 gallons.
the reason that just means I'm old, but